Hello, everybody. Welcome to our virtual breakfast. COVID-19 is the problem, data is the answer. I'm Helen Tanner from DataCubed. DataCubed is a data agency based in Bristol, and we help businesses to make data simple and to make or save money using data. And Alex, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi there. My name's Alex Cosgrove. I'm the head of data, insight and analytics recruitment at AdLib. So AdLib are a Bristol-based recruitment company. We work with a range of businesses across all industries in the Southwest, from startups through to multinationals. As such, I've been chatting to quite a few data professionals across all these industries over the past few weeks about how they're planning for the recovery ahead.
So thanks for giving us your time today. We are going to run a session with you today where we're going to give you super practical tips and tools for you to use data to inform your business recovery plans. And we're looking for your questions, your comments as we go through. But before we get started, we're going to start with a poll. So I'm just going to launch a poll, a quick question, get you kind of energized and engaged with us. So I'm going to launch that now. So you should be able to see that on your screen. So if you can have a look at that, the question for you all to get you all started: how are you using data today to inform your business recovery plans now? So multiple choice, kind of have a look through those, look at whether it's informing your business plans, building products, all sorts of things. Have a little play through those and give us your votes. Great, they're flooding in. Thanks very much, everyone. Keep going. That's brilliant. While you finish that, what we're going to do, we'd really like this session to be really engaging, so you don't just hear from Alex and I all the way through this. So we'd love you to send us your questions. So we've got a Q&A functionality on Zoom for those of you who are not used to Zoom. Please send us your questions. We're also interested in your comments, your ideas, your thoughts. You're all automatically muted, I'm sorry to say, but we can unmute you and bring you into the chat with us and get you engaged with us. So where you have got any questions or thoughts or advice or tips yourself, it will be great to get you involved and bring you in the discussion with us. So we'll do that. So great, thank you. I think we've all those flooding in. I'm gonna put a pause on the voting at the moment because I think we've got everyone's coming in. So so thank you very much, and we will get going. And remember, send us your questions as we go. Okay, Alex, do you want to get going and introduce the presentation to everyone?
Yeah, of course. So I think obviously we're all aware, like all businesses are facing major problems caused by COVID-19. So from surveys taken over the past month, we can see some of the impact here. So from the recent Business West survey, it's become apparent that only 16% of businesses believe they'll be able to cope if the crisis lasts 6 months or more. According to the British Chamber of Commerce, more than 70% of UK private firms have furloughed staff. And worldwide stock markets have experienced a crash of over 25% year to date as of April the 1st. So we're here to talk about kind of how data can help plan your business recovery. It can enable you to make smarter, quicker, data-driven decisions, which can help your business re-emerge as a leaner, stronger business that can be better prepared for business recovery. And this can help you get ahead of the competition and really kind of help create a commercial advantage for your business.
So what we're going to do in this session, Alex and I are going to do a double act for you, and we're going to share 8 super practical hands-on tips of what any business can do today to use data to better inform your plans. And we're going to go through each of these 8 areas, share our tips with you and our tools, and share some real life examples with you as you go. And what you will see as we go through this are some themes that will start to become repeated. Like one of those themes would be don't guess. Don't guess, don't estimate, use data. That's one of the themes you'll see coming across in all of these. The second one is perfection is the enemy of good, right? Don't worry about getting things 100% accurate, because in these circumstances, it may be that 80 or 90% might be good enough for your purpose. So you'll start to see some of those come through. And just at this point, we will share the slides with you afterwards. We're recording this, so we'll share that with you afterwards. So don't worry about taking lots of photos of the slides. We'll provide all that freely to you after this presentation. So getting ready, getting started. Step 1, don't make decisions based on gut feel or listen to whoever shouts the loudest, which let's face it, is normally the decision-making process in many businesses. But what we're focusing on here today, our step 1 is super simple: use data to inform your business strategy and plans. And any business, even a startup or a micro SME, is likely to have islands of data.
Cool. So just talking to various businesses locally here and kind of thinking about how AdLib had to react to this. We've had to use data to really kind of inform our business strategy and plans. So what we did is we put in place a lot more KPIs and metrics for the first 3 to 4 weeks of lockdown to really understand in a deeper way which of our markets were still viable to maintain a level of sales activity that will lead to revenue. So by really understanding at a low level kind of what every consultant was doing and the results that they were getting, we were quickly able to see which of our client bases and market sectors weren't going to be viable, so we could make sure we're repositioning our time and effort elsewhere. And we really use this to understand like which of our consultants we had to put on furlough.
Cool, thanks, Alex. I think we might have talked over each other there. I'm not sure whether you dropped out or something, so sorry about that. But yeah, so yeah, every business should have data. Our view on it is that there should be no excuse to not use all of that data you've got within your business to inform your business strategy and plans. So step 2, don't spend more on data than you derive value from it. So there's loads of articles around data is the new oil, albeit not the greatest analogy at the moment, and monetizing data, and all these Silicon Valley businesses making so much money from data than they are from actual physical assets. And yet many businesses are actually spending more on their data architecture than they are actually deriving value from it. So we'd like to help you with that with a really quick practical tool. So step 1, identify your data costs. Now these could be third-party systems, they could be databases within your organization, they could be cloud storage. As I say, even a small business will have lots of different ways that you're storing your data. And the thing we recommend is you firstly have a look at those data sources and list them, and then look at how well used they are, because sometimes you might find that they're not actually used that much, what that business value is, and then what that cost is. So doing a bit of an audit first. And then step 2, going through that audit, working out where you've got the highest costs, where you've got areas of duplication, where you've got systems that you'd forgotten you had and actually they were introduced ages ago and people have forgotten, and tools and systems that are not that helpful to you and your business. And examples here, we have worked with a number of different businesses across different sectors, from financial services to travel to energy. And they've been able to save thousands, if not tens of thousands of pounds per year just by doing this data architecture review. Because what they've found is they've been duplicating storage, they've been doing things in an inefficient way, they've been paying over the odds where there are newer, latest tools that are more cost effective for them. So we believe many businesses could save thousands of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds just by doing this step 2. And in the current climate, that could be a really good solution for you. Step 3, don't cut things in a panic. We get it, right? So there's a real natural inclination to just go out there and cut all your discretionary spend. So your marketing activity, your contractors, all of those things. And we understand why we'd all do that, but really we'd recommend doing that in a data-driven way. So in a similar way to the step before, we recommend you do an audit of all your costs, likely to be heavy on people in most businesses, followed by your kind of business assets and then discretionary spend. So we recommend you audit your cost, but not just audit your cost and look at reducing the bigger ones first, actually look at which of those costs are actually buying you sales and therefore buying you profit. And looking at those costs, looking at how they impact sales, how much they impact sales before you then cut them. because it might be the right thing to do is not to cut them and to focus on growing revenue still and doubling down on sales and marketing might be the right thing to do rather than cutting those areas of spend. So we recommend you do that audit, step one, and then work through those costs and review the ones that are going to really help your business.
Cool. So we went through this exact exercise at AdLib. We had to look back at our data from the crash in 2008 to really kind of look at which of our sectors suffered the most through that time and how we weathered that. So back in 2008, we identified that our creative and marketing vacancies were the first of our sectors to crash and get reined in by our clients. And this has happened again. So we really needed to quickly evaluate our marketing and sales spend in this space and shift our focus to our tech, data and engineering offerings. We looked at kind of reviewing our rent, and we looked at the cost of all the licenses and systems that each consultant that we have in the business has as a cost. And we were quickly able to plan to downscale the teams to look at the expected market conditions if the immediate downturn continued over a 2-week period without any positive signs. And then we made sure we waited for kind of government support before panicking or making anyone redundant. We've spoken to other companies around the area who didn't wait and cut really quickly before the furlough scheme was announced, and those businesses are going to struggle to kind of keep those activities up.
Great. So step 4, it's all around not dealing with customers in a one-size-fits-all way. So not doing things generically across all your customer base, but targeting your highest value customers first. So step 1 is working out, well, what actually is your high value, or what is customer value in its first place. Now, there's loads of opportunities out there to really do complicated customer value analysis that you could get lost in for weeks. But what we recommend, even for enterprises as well as small businesses, is starting really simple. So looking at what money does a customer bring in? What was the cost of acquiring and servicing that customer divided by the time they've actually been a customer? So really simple metric. Now you can create more advanced versions of that once you've done that, and you would need to do that if you're looking at, say, annual insurance premiums, for instance. But we really recommend you start simple. Then calculate customer value for all of your customers. And here's a simple example below. And that will help you work out that potentially your highest revenue customers, but potentially the ones that get all your love and attention usually, might not be the ones that actually are your highest value and contributing to your bottom line. It also might highlight that some of your customers might actually be loss-making, and therefore you might be considering in the current climate, if you can't move them up, to then actually look at potentially exiting customers. That might be the right thing to do for your customer right now.
Well, thanks, Hels. We've got a couple of questions here, so it'd be great to go to these. So we've got one from Gideon Barker. Are there sources of data or insight out there, i.e. available to us, which can tell us more about how businesses are reacting to the crisis, e.g. spending less on X and cutting back on Y? I've seen quite a few reports from strategy consultancies like McKinsey, EY, Bain out there, really kind of giving kind of example models around how businesses can change and adapt, but not sure around like sources of data and insight. Have you seen anything around that, Helen?
I think at the moment it's mainly through surveys. Like we quoted the Business West survey and the Bristol British Chamber of Commerce survey. I think most of it at the moment is anecdotal. So those guys have shared useful feedback, and for any of you out there who are business owners and business leaders, you're probably inundated with surveys asking you how COVID-19 is impacting you at the moment. I know I've filled in a fair few. So I think at the moment it's anecdotal and based on surveys rather than any stats that I've seen yet. But if anyone's seen any, by all means do share with us on the chat.
Cool. And there's another question here, one for you, Hels. What tool would you recommend for defining value for different sized businesses?
So I would start really simple. So I would start in something like Excel, and keep it simple so that you know exactly what you're doing. Now that's fine when you've got single digit or tens of customers, or getting into maybe into the early hundreds of customers. But when you go beyond that and you've got thousands of millions of customers, you probably need something more advanced. You know, I think that there are brilliant tools out there as Power BI and Tableau and more advanced ways to combine different data sources together, analyze them and visualize them. So I think that could be the kind of next level. But I'd always start simple, do a test case with some of your clients, make sure that your calculation is robust and actually truly is giving you customer value before you then roll it out. Otherwise you'll just drown in the data and all the different things out there.
Cool, thanks for that. Just to touch on a couple of talks that I've had with clients locally around targeting your highest value customers first. So there's definitely a trend of, that I've noticed around companies looking really kind of dive into their customer data to identify that lifetime value of a customer. And if you can use your data to identify your high value customers, then you know kind of where you should be spending money on marketing to get better responses. Also, speaking with a few people, they're kind of understanding that segments are going to change as a result of customer behavior changing, and there might be higher yield to get different segments through digital channels. So for example, sort of over 75s market that might not have used digital services before are going to be forced into doing that. And then some of our other clients are really kind of starting to A/B test customer comms now, and repeating that regularly throughout the crisis to really understand how different stages of lockdown are affecting customer behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a question from another Alex B this time. So can you briefly touch on how to calculate the cost of a customer? And a really good question, Alex, and it can be really tricky. So the way we've done it before is start simple and then evolve it. So starting simple might be taking your total costs and averaging them out across all your customers, right? That might be your starting point. And if you've got a business where all of your customers are acquired and serviced in the same way, that might be where you end it too. But then you can go, right, which of our customers were acquired via different routes? So which customers maybe were acquired via a low cost online digital campaign through AdWords and SEO and those types of things, versus which customers were acquired through a sales team. And then you can split your costs across those so that your lighter, lower cost acquisition costs would be lower for this group of customers, and your heavier costs would be more for the more sales orientated customers. That's acquisition costs, very simplistically. You could do the same with servicing. So if you provide an enhanced service to your key accounts, maybe they get a dedicated key account person looking after them, then you should attribute higher costs to them than you might to your long tail of businesses who get, say, reactive telephone support only. So what I'd say is start simple and then enhance it as you go all the way down. Most businesses don't directly attribute cost to a client. I think that's quite rare from our experience. So normally it's around segmenting your customers and what type of customer they are, and then attributing the right cost to them. But that's the way we've done it both at enterprise level and with SME businesses. So hopefully that answers your question, Alex. Okay, we are halfway there. So next one is step 5. So don't guess what will happen in future. Forecast sales and costs in different scenarios. Now at the moment it's tricky enough to forecast sales, revenue, resources in any year, right? It's a really tricky job to forecast what's going to happen. There is always an element of uncertainty, but this year with COVID, there's even more uncertainty. So whereas in other situations, you might look back at what happened last year or what happened, 5 years ago. At the moment, it's just really difficult to compare with anything that's happened before, unless you've been in business since the last kind of recession time. But even then, this is different again, right? So what we recommend is actually forecasting with scenarios instead. So rather than using past data as guide.
Oh, I think we might have lost Helen there. I think we might have lost Helen there. So what she's going to talk through is around, like, as you can't use data to build predictive models, and we need to have a look at whatever assumptions that you can make. So really planning for the worst possible case scenario, as well as the best case, and then something in the middle around the pessimistic scenario might be more normal. In terms of kind of what we've seen from our local business, we have spoke to a tech startup client of mine who have looked into the worst case scenario of getting absolutely no customer income for 12 months. And then they've put financial models looking at 20% either side of that. So they've got a very much pessimistic worst case income, worst case scenario, and the optimistic worst case. And they've ensured that they've reduced their costs to deal with their pessimistic worst case scenario to make sure that the business is viable for as long as this could go on for. Now they've modeled that, they're in a great place if anything other than the worst case scenario happens. And they also have the ability to quickly scale up if a more positive scenario appears. So it's all about hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. Hi, Hels, are you back?
Hi, I'm sorry, guys. I had a power outage just by not being connected. So my own stupidity. So I apologise for leaving you in the lurch, Alex. Where did you get to?
So we're just talking about forecasting in different scenarios, and how if you really do plan for the very, very worst, and then you have like a pessimistic scenario, somewhere in the middle is probably going to be reality. But if you're constantly planning and understanding the worst case scenario, really kind of plan for that, and then hopefully it will be better.
Brilliant. Sorry, guys, I'm back now and powered up. Next step, don't just chuck new marketing stuff out there. So we think you need to be smarter about your sales and marketing, and I can understand there's a kind of panic of, you know, let's just double down on sales and marketing and go for it. But we really think you need to focus on working out where you put your money in the right place. So step 6 is all around improving your sales and marketing conversion rates rather than just chucking loads of sales and marketing stuff out there. And our step 1 is creating a simple customer journey. Now you could spend weeks or months doing this, but we've created, as you can see, a super quick one with potentially a couple of products, 5 stages of customer journey. From, you know, let's say this is a typical kind of online business, say, and then looked at the channels that your customers would actually use to find you or to buy from you, and then looked at the data sources beneath those all. So hopefully you can see how you could tailor this for your business to make it work for you. And maybe there's more or less stages in here, and undoubtedly more and less channels and data sources. But our step 1 would be create a quick customer journey that, again, you can refine and make more complicated as you go. Step 2 would then be go out and collect the data from all of your channels that you've got data from. So you know, most businesses will have the channels that you can see on the left here, or variations of them. So I would say go back a few months, maybe to the start of this year. Don't worry about going back over the years. But collect data, start with high level data and collect that all into one place. Now, you know, this is something you could do that might take you an hour or so this afternoon in most businesses, just to pull together a high level view to start with. Then your step 3 would be mapping that data back onto your customer journey and working out where your problems are. So rather than trying to spend loads of sales and marketing time and effort and budget on everything, by doing this, you can, in this example, you can focus on actually discounts, special offers, or improving your online buying experience or your sales process, rather than spending loads of money on Google ads, PPC, SEO, all those types of things in this example. And if you had the opposite case here, then you'd have the opposite scenario. But this is all about making sure that you get the best bang for your buck, rather than just trying to do everything for everyone.
Well, thanks. So this is fairly pertinent to AdLib. So we had to really quickly have a look at what this new normal looked like, and really take into account the flip that there were a lot of jobs out there before and not enough people, and now there's lots of people looking for jobs but not many jobs out there. So we had to quickly remodel our marketing activity, make sure that it was relevant, empathetic and valuable to our audiences, but also really look into where we spend, look at the PPC and SEO spend that we had, really kind of deal with the shift. We also really kind of quickly tried a lot of different approaches to see which ones would be the most successful. And we found from looking at the data in terms of conversion rates that a content strategy to really kind of approach CEOs, CTOs with the view of relationship building and kind of really give them PR and to raise awareness of their business, but without kind of mentioning recruitment and having a content-based strategy was being really successful. We've now shifted our focus onto that, and all of our consultants are looking to kind of have interviews with senior stakeholders to take advantage of that, and given that that's been the most successful approach.
Great. Please do send us in questions. Oh, here we've got one. Alex, do you think this is potentially a good time for recruitment if you have the budget, high availability of candidates?
Yeah, so some of the companies we're working with that are still able to hire, so those companies that have had recent rounds of investment and are not kind of reliant on customer income yet, or have large scale projects that still need to happen, they are finding that it is a good time to recruit because there's less competition from their natural competitors. So for one of the tech firms we work with that's working on autonomous driving software, they're finding that they have their kind of pick of the bunch of the best like machine learning engineers and software engineers out there. So if you do have the ability to hire right now, it's definitely you'll definitely get kind of a pick of the bunch than you would say 2 months ago.
So great for those who can.
Yeah.
And penultimate steps, number 7, sorry. Don't miss out on emerging opportunities. So whilst it is tough times, and whilst there is a lot of worry out there, it's also a great opportunity to create new competitive advantage and potentially brand new revenue streams using data. And so what we suggest is step 1 is thinking of your data as an asset. Now, data often can feel quite vacuous and vague and massive in its own right. So what we suggest first of all is breaking down all your data into a number of different boxes, into a number of different sources. We've got some examples here on the screen that you can see in front of you. So you can actually break them down into all of those component parts. And this is something we do as an exercise with businesses. Sometimes we literally build boxes where each box represents a type of data within that business, and you very quickly with any business get to maybe 30 or 40 different types of data within a business. And by breaking it down, it helps you to get really creative around turning that data into something really useful and meaningful for your customers, or indeed for new customers. So your step 2 is then, once you've broken that data down, actually getting creative and thinking about ways that you can use that data and repackage it up in different formats for different purposes. So we've got some examples down the bottom. So this is all around, making money from data by either selling packaged data to your current clients or to completely new customer bases. And that doesn't need to be in the form of raw data or spreadsheets. It can be in the form of perhaps a brand new index for your market, or a dashboard for your customers that gives them much more insight on the service that you offer to them. It could be a predictive tool and a brand new capability around benchmarking, for instance. It could be warnings and alerts. There's all sorts of different ways that you can repackage your data and potentially, if not directly monetize it by selling that packaged data for a fee, at least helping it to create a competitive advantage in your market and giving you a reason for your customers to stay with you and do more with you. Yeah, the other side of this for maybe businesses that don't have as much data, so maybe more smaller businesses, is thinking about ways that you can make strategic data partnerships potentially. So if you serve the same customer base as lots of other businesses, but you're not in competition with them, maybe you all serve the wedding market or the events market or whatever it might be, or you're all focusing on SMEs, then you could collaborate in different ways. Now, I'd advise against sending data to people, but there could be ways that you offer your website, your emails as a way for partner and strategic partner businesses to work with you in that collaborative way. So all different ways that you can use data to make more money.
We've had a question, Hels, from Nick Williams. So He's saying much of this data will be held in multiple sources. How would you best suggest to combine and analyze to really drive results?
Yeah, so having disparate, disconnected data sources is a really common problem that Nick's highlighted here. So most businesses don't have a single view of customer or a single view of whatever asset they've got within their business. That's really uncommon, and most businesses have got this islands of data all over the place that are disconnected. With this, again, you'll notice the theme here. It's prioritize and start simple. So you will have, many businesses might have 20, 30, 40 different data sources. So what the process that we'd be going through, and this is what I would suggest to all of you, is to start with a business case, or a business purpose. So for instance, you want to, focus on the example here of a creative idea that you've come up with, and then focus on getting those data sources and only those data sources into one place. So rather than trying to tackle your 40 data sources all in one go and having some massive single view of customer project that could take you years and millions of pounds, start with a very clear, focused goal, work out what data sources you need to satisfy that goal, and then focus on those data sources first. And there are different, technically how you do that, it would be different for different projects, but there are great cloud solutions now. Many data sources have got APIs or decent connections that you can integrate with. So there are all different ways of doing that, but that would be my approach.
Cool. And how have DataCube helped any businesses create data-driven products in recent times?
Oh, yes, Alex, thanks for prompting me. I was going to give some examples here, wasn't I? So we've done this for businesses in the local area. So there have been clients we're working with who in financial services, they're creating dashboards that for their corporate key account clients that they are going to kind of sell on for an extra fee. We've worked with an environmental business who are monetizing hyperlocal air quality data at 10 meters and then selling that on to a number of different sectors. And we work with PR and marketing agencies. So people who have got loads of data on the PR and marketing activity they're doing, that again, they are repackaging, presenting to their customers and charging additional fees for it. So those are three local examples of where businesses are making money from data now, and there's loads of opportunities across many businesses out there.
Excellent. And then just a question from Matt, like what are the GDPR implications, and are businesses allowed to buy and sell and collaborate with their data?
So it depends on the permissions you've got and what you've agreed with your clients in terms of your terms and conditions with them. We've never worked on a project where monetizing data has involved selling raw data. There are often just far smarter ways to do it, where you can package your data in all different ways, add more insight to it, anonymize it and aggregate it so that you can build it into much more value add data solutions. So I would guard against it. Unless you've thought it through, you've got the terms and conditions, you're comfortable that your customers would be happy and all those things. I think it's about being smarter with data rather than just selling raw data. Okay, and last tip, everybody, don't forget your team. So make sure you are communicating business KPIs to all your staff, particularly in light of COVID, where your business KPIs and your team priorities may well have changed. So it's really key to make sure that everyone is pointing in the same direction, knows the goals, knows know their role and what levers they can pull within the business to help you with those goals. And again, you'll notice the theme here, start simple. If it's a small table, just built in Excel or Word, if that's right for your business, start there. It doesn't need to be pretty and complex and overwhelming. It can be super simple, whatever gets the message across. Or indeed, there are different ways that you can build different kind of dashboards and tools around it that might be right for your business too.
Cool. So I've had quite a few conversations about this with people working in local businesses, and there's definitely kind of a theme that some have got it right. They've been as transparent as possible, really kind of breaking down what's happening, how this is all affecting their business, and the key measures across the business to understand success. But others I've spoken to feel like they're really being kept in the dark, and they don't really know kind of what the impact is on their business, what the future holds for their company, and this is really kind of increasing the already big amount of uncertainty that they have. So you can probably guess which one's contacted me about potentially looking for new jobs. And it's really, really important to really kind of be transparent at this time with everyone, internally and externally. So yeah, with us at AdLib, so we have like regular meetings, like more than twice a week, to really kind of discuss our key business success metrics, laying out costs really transparently, and really kind of getting buy-in from all our employees, showing how everything they do right now really counts towards keeping the business a success, and really kind of keeping us relevant during this time, so we can keep strong and bounce back and recover well when the time comes. Great.
So that is our 8 steps that we recommend. So 8 practical things, hopefully, that we think you could do in your business today, really simply, and get started on those. We wanted to make this super practical in the current climate rather than sharing loads of theory with you. So we hope you've got some things that you can take away with you and implement in your own business. And really a quick question for you all is to think about, are you using data at the moment to really prepare your business for recovery? So whilst it's tough right now, and whilst we don't know when this period will end, or indeed when it might go back to normal, it would be really great to get your views on whether you're using your data today, and clearly we would say this, but ignoring data at your peril.
We've got one more question from Jonathan Ross. Do you see particular systems and setups that businesses often get wrong? Like, for example, Salesforce can be too complicated for many businesses looking for a fairly basic CRM, and can cause more problems than they solve. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think it does depend on the size of your business, and I'm technology agnostic, so we don't have anything particularly to push, but depending on the size of your business, we'll select the right tool for you. So whether it's Salesforce or Pipedrive or HubSpot, there's lots of different ones. They all have pros and cons. So I think it's a case of reviewing those against your requirements, and working out what's right for your business. So yeah, I don't have one I can advocate over all of those others, but if anyone else does on the call, then it would be great to hear from you. Great. So we are at the end, everybody. But what I wanted to do was, so it'd be great to hear your questions, and I thought it would also be good to share our poll with you, and that might prompt some kind of responses from you too. So this is the question we asked you right at the beginning. So how are you using data to inform your business recovery plans right now? So it looks like the top one has won, but we've got some different ones down there. And we'd love to welcome any questions, any comments, any other thoughts, anything that anyone's doing with data that we haven't mentioned that you'd like to share. It would be great to hear from you. Anyone typing frantically? Let us know. Or while you do that, what we're going to do is ask you a second poll. So so if you're up for that, we will ask you a poll. Having gone through what we've done, we'd like to ask a similar question, but in a slightly different way. So so what might you start doing that perhaps you weren't doing before we spoke on this call, that you might start doing? So if you could have a look at that poll and give us your responses, that would be brilliant. Or write a question, whichever you prefer. Great. Anything we've missed, Alex?
Not that I can think. Not that I can think of. If there are any other questions that anyone wants to ask offline, please feel free to get in touch with Helen. She's the expert. Got a question from Gideon. Yeah. So I guess, what would you suggest as steps 1, 2, 3, i.e. how should we prioritize?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Isn't it, Gideon? I think it probably depends on your business and where you are. So I suppose I would start with that the top one, probably, or maybe would I start with the bottom one? I wonder whether actually you start with the business KPIs one. So the one that I said at the bottom around communicating business KPIs to all staff. That's also a really good way for us all as business owners and business leaders to get a grasp on our business KPIs, and that then will point out where your main problem areas are. So I would consider starting there. Most businesses are also really focused on driving more sales, right? I don't know many businesses that aren't worried about getting more sales. So your other one would be your step 6, I think it is, improve your sales and marketing conversion rates. So doing that customer journey analysis and rating your areas, again, because you'll see where things aren't working and where they're falling through. So if you did anything today, I'd do those 2. I think those are the 2 that would help steer your business plans and your other priorities. Right, and let me end polling and show you the results on this one. So answer this one, targeting your highest value customers first. So so that seems to be the one where we talked around customer value and making sure that you're focused on the ones that bring you the most value, really driving up the ones who don't at the moment, or indeed exiting them. So yeah, I think that's a great place to start. So yeah, any other questions? Let us know. Please do connect with Alex and I on LinkedIn. You'll find us there if you haven't done so already. We'll be sharing a video of this, including me dropping out midway through when I lost power. That's brilliant. And we'll send around the slides and all those types of things. But do drop us a line if you need any help with anything. We can give you tools and templates, those types of things for you to get going and do that. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll follow up with you all.
Well, thanks everyone. Hope you found it useful. And if you've got any suggestions around other things that we can do around how data can help your business, or any themes that have come up that you want us to explore in more detail and depth, then we'd be happy to run another session around that.
Great. Thanks all.
Cheers.